Le pays qui fait peur à la Russie, c'est la France. Pourquoi? Parce que nous sommes le seul pays doté, comme on dit, et qui pouvons, nous, on peut détruire, et je le souhaite infiniment pas, détruire Saint-Pétersbourg, Moscou et quelques villes russes en 10 minutes, et il le sait. C'est-à-dire que nous, même si l'Amérique s'en va, nous demeurons, nous, une capacité, c'est ce qu'a voulu le général de Gaulle depuis le début. Nous sommes, nous, une véritable menace.
This is my video update on this Tuesday, midday, April the 9th. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with Zelenskyy giving an interview to CNN. And the little green man, he was doing some scaremongering for cash. Give me $61 billion or else Russia is going to attack other nations. That is what Zelenskyy told CNN. Give me some $61 billion or else Russia will attack other nations. Zelenskyy also told CNN that if Ukraine doesn't get the $61 billion from Congress, then Ukraine is going to lose the war. CNN, listen to me right now. If your Speaker Johnson, if he does not give me $61 billion, then the Putin will attack other nations and we lose war. And I will not be able to buy more homes. So I need that $61 billion. What Zelenskyy actually said is, and I quote, if Congress does not help Ukraine, Ukraine will lose the war. If Ukraine loses the war, other states will be attacked. So that is what Zelenskyy told CNN.
If Congress does not help Ukraine, Ukraine will lose the war. And we need to find a public format for this. If Ukraine loses the war, other states will be attacked.
And I wonder what Zelenskyy is going to say if and when he gets that $61 billion and Ukraine continues to lose this conflict. What's going to be the next excuse from Zelenskyy? What is he going to say then? I don't know. Maybe he's hoping that he'll get the $61 billion in cash, and then France and British troops will enter Ukraine and save the day. Maybe that's what he's hoping for. He's betting on 61 billion, and then Macron, and then Cameron. That's Zelenskyy's war plan. So Ukraine, they have been sending drones into the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant for the last couple of days, trying to cause a nuclear meltdown. And the reason that the Zelenskyy regime is trying to cause this nuclear meltdown at the ZNPP is because they are trying to blackmail the collective West into releasing more money to Ukraine. Basically, what the Zelenskyy regime is saying is, if we don't get money and if we don't get weapons, then we are going to cause a nuclear catastrophe in Europe. So that is why the Zelenskyy regime has been sending drones into the ZNPP. And when State Department spokesman Matthew Miller, I believe that's his name, when he was asked about the attacks on the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, Matthew Miller, he blamed Russia. He refused to condemn Ukraine and to condemn the Zelenskyy regime, and instead he blamed Russia.
Aware of the reports of a drone attack at Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. We are continuing to monitor the conditions at the plant, including through official reporting from the IAEA, which fortunately notes that the damage resulting from that drone strike has not compromised nuclear safety. You have heard from us before our belief that Russia is playing a very dangerous game with its military seizure of Ukraine's nuclear power plant, which is the largest in Europe. It's dangerous that they've done that.
Now, keep in mind that Ukraine, they are attacking the ZNPP while IAEA officials and staff members are at the nuclear power plant. So International Atomic Energy staff members are at the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, and Ukraine and the Zelenskyy regime, they are sending drones into the nuclear power plant. So you would think that the IAEA and their leader, Mr. Grossi, you would think that they would condemn Ukraine and they would condemn the Zelenskyy regime and tell the Zelenskyy regime to stop, to knock it off. This is dangerous. This can cause a nuclear catastrophe in Europe. We have staff members at the ZNPP, so Zelenskyy, stop sending drones into this facility. You would think that is what the IAEA would do, but nope, that is not what they are doing, and that is not what they are saying. Here is a Twitter post from the IAEA the other day, which says, drone strikes hit the site of Ukraine's Zaporozhye nuclear power plant today in a serious incident that endangered nuclear safety and security, Director General Rafael Grossi said. Drone strikes from somewhere, magic drone strikes from out of thin air. The drones just appeared from nowhere and they started hitting the ZNPP. We don't want to say who sent those drones to attack the ZNPP, right? IAEA, we don't want to mention names or regimes or little green men who sent the drones into the ZNPP. Nope, we're not going to call out Ukraine. We're just going to say that drones hit the ZNPP and this is dangerous. Unbelievable stuff, huh? Unbelievable stuff. Look at this this article title, Nuclear Power Plant Hit, New Russian Drone Attacks on Ukraine. You see what they're doing there? Nuclear power plant hit, hyphen, new Russian drone attacks on Ukraine. They're so good with their lies, huh? They're very clever with their article titles. So Russia, they're not waiting on a condemnation from the IAEA of Ukraine. They're not waiting on the collective West or the U.S. to put a stop to the dangerous blackmail antics of the man in Kiev who is always wearing green sweatshirts. Nope. What Russia is doing is they are taking matters into their own hands and they are hunting down drone production facilities and they are destroying drone production facilities in the Zaporozhye region. And yesterday, Russia did find a UAV production facility in Zaporozhye, and they sent a missile right into this UAV production facility, and they destroyed it. So Janet Yellen, she went to China. She went to China to talk to China about their overcapacity problem. You see, China, everybody, they have an overcapacity problem. It's a real thing, having an overcapacity problem. And it's really bothering Yellen. It's really bothering the Biden White House, and it's bothering Yellen. And she went to China to tell the Chinese to stop with their freaking overcapacity. Stop it with all your overcapacity. You're causing problems for the Biden White House with your overcapacity. So Yellen went to China with an overcapacity complaint. And I think this is best summed up by Simplicius the Thinker. And he wrote, The fact of the matter is, China is simply leaping ahead of the decrepit, deteriorating US by every measure. And the panicked elites have sent Yellen to beg China to slow down and not embarrass the US on the world stage. How is China doing this? Let's run through a few of the most poignant ways. And in this article, Simplicity Thinker actually lists 4 or 5 ways that China is leaping ahead of the US. And he talks about why China has this overcapacity problem. One of the reasons for this overcapacity problem of China's is that China is not spending all of their money on wars, and they're actually spending their money to build things, to develop things. That's one of the reasons why China has this overcapacity problem. Anyway, Yellen also warned China to stop supporting Russia with washing machine chips and machine tools. She threatened China with sanctions if they continue to support Russia with shovels and chips and machining tools and stuff like that. And Yellen said, I quote, I emphasize that companies, including those in China, should not provide material support to Russia's war, and that they would face significant consequences if they did. So Yellen threatening China, stop supporting Russia or else you will have sanctions. Brian Berletic, he summed up this threat very well in a video that he recorded the other day. Basically, what Brian said is that Yellen is telling China to help the U.S. destroy Russia so the U.S. can then destroy China. That's basically what Yellen was requesting of the Chinese. Stop helping Russia. Stop trading with Russia. Stop providing Russia certain things that it needs, certain goods that it needs, certain shovels and chips, and then when we destroy Russia, we're going to come after you, China. So yeah, I think Yellen's been dipping her hand into the stash of magic mushrooms. Oh boy. So what was China's response to Yellen's sanctions threats, to Yellen's request to stop dealing with Russia, to break off ties with Russia? This is what Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning said to Yellen. This is what she said regarding Yellen's statement, and I quote, China-Russia relations should not be attacked or smeared, and the legitimate rights and interests of China and Chinese companies should not be harmed, Mao said. China will take resolute measures to safeguard our legitimate rights and interests. In other words, China told Yellen to stuff it. To stuff it. That is what China told Yellen. And then Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, he rolled into town. Yup. Right after Yellen was in China, wouldn't you know it, the Russian Foreign Minister flies to China to meet with the Chinese Foreign Minister, and he was also received by Xi Jinping. That's right. That tells you everything you need to know. Not only does Lavrov visit China right after Yellen's disastrous trip to China, Lavrov rolls into town. He has an excellent meeting and discussion with Chinese officials with the foreign minister of China. And then Lavrov was greeted by Xi Jinping. Name me one world leader who wants to be like Xi Jinping. Name me one. I always mess up that quote from Biden. I don't think he said, name me one world leader that wants to be like Xi Jinping. I think he said something like, name me one world leader that wants to talk with Xi Jinping. Name me one. Oh, boy. So, yeah, Lavrov in China. All is good. China-Russia relations are stronger than ever. Actually, I think Lavrov even addressed Yellen's threats to China, saying that that Yellen should stuff it. Butt out. Don't get involved in the bilateral relations between Russia and China. That's pretty much what Lavrov said, addressing Yellen's sanction threats to China while he was in China. So let's turn to what is happening in Israel. In Israel, we have news that the IDF is withdrawing from southern Gaza. The IDF, they are saying that the withdrawal is for tactical reasons, but I was reading various articles, including an article from The Guardian, which I will reference in a bit, and this seems like a retreat. Doesn't seem like the IDF is withdrawing from southern Gaza, specifically from southern Gaza, for tactical reasons. Maybe that is true, but the articles that I am reading, it sounds like Israel has not accomplished their goals, and they are retreating from southern Gaza after leveling southern Gaza and not being able to eradicate Hamas. The IDF is going to be leaving southern Gaza. Here's what The Guardian is reporting. Israel withdraws troops from southern Gaza for tactical reasons. Drawdown after 4 months of fighting in Khan Yunis coincides with new ceasefire talks. It is believed the drawdown is primarily to relieve reservists after nearly 4 months of intense fighting in the decimated southern city of Khan Yunis, rather than any significant shift in strategy. An army official who spoke to the Israel Daily Haaretz said, and I quote, "There's no need for us to remain in Khan Yunis. The 98th Division dismantled Hamas's Khan Yunis brigades and killed thousands of its members. We did everything we could there. Displaced Palestinians from the city may now be able to return to their homes," they said. I think the key line from the IDF, from this army official in this statement is, "We did everything we could there." That does not sound like victory. Now, I could be wrong about this, but that line, "we did everything we could there," that doesn't sound like victory at all. It doesn't sound like you achieved your goals. That doesn't sound like you actually defeated Hamas. We did everything we could there. All right, let's do some more stories, and hopefully the rain will stop and I can start walking again. But until then, let's talk about some more news. And German troops are in Lithuania. I believe something like 24 German troops are in Lithuania at the moment. But by 2027, 5,000 German troops will be deployed to Lithuania. This is the first time that we have permanently stationed such a unit outside of Germany, German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius said in Berlin at a farewell ceremony for the preliminary command of Germany's Lithuanian brigade, according to German news agency DPA. Pistorius called it an important day for the German army. In the Lithuanian capital, Vilnius, Defense Minister Laurnas Kasčiūnas said that the move was a great example for all the countries on NATO's eastern flank on the border with Russia and its ally Belarus. We will create such a defense and deterrence architecture that no adversary from the east will even think about testing NATO's Article 5, he told reporters. Boy, they really have taken this Article 5 thing to really worrying levels, huh? It's become a religion, this Article 5 thing. Man, oh man. Article 5, Article 5, Article 5. I mean, my God. My God. The Baltic nations and their Article 5. They're really, really worried about something happening. Here's what they're worried about. They're worried that something's going to happen and the other NATO members are not going to honor or act on Article 5. That's what they're worried about. That's why they're always saying Article 5, Article 5, Article 5. Hey, guys, Article 5. Remember that article? Article 5. I think deep down inside, the political class in the Baltic nations, I think they understand that if something were to happen, the other NATO members are just going to be like, nah, we're not going to activate Article 5 for the Baltic nations. No, thank you. Anyway, that is an interesting bit of news. Let's see, what else do I have here? Ukraine Land Forces Commander Alexander Palvyuk warned in a Facebook post on Monday that Ukraine is low on soldiers. That is what he said. Low on soldiers via Facebook. And then the Ukraine Land Forces Commander, Mr. Palvyuk, he said that sooner or later, all Ukrainians will have to be sent to the front line. Because Facebook is exactly the right place where military commanders make such statements. You have to post this stuff on Facebook, right? We're running low on soldiers, and everyone in Ukraine will eventually be drafted and sent to the front. Smiley emoji, thumbs up button. Oh my God. What the F, man? What the F? You're a military commander. What are you even doing on Facebook if you're a military official? Shouldn't that be prohibited? Any military official should be prohibited. All military officials should be prohibited from posting on any social media. I think that should be the common sense rule if you're the Ukrainian armed forces. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. In his message, Palvyuk urged Ukrainians to put aside their emotions and enlist in the armed forces, stating that the army and the people are inseparable, and that the protection of the state is the constitutional duty of a citizen. It is necessary to understand that no one can sit this out. The face of the country, the fate of our people is at stake, the commander wrote. He suggested that no one would be spared by Russia in the fighting, neither those who hid nor those who betrayed Ukraine. The army and the people are inseparable. So my question to the army and to all of the army commanders is when this war comes to an end, is the army and are all the commanders going to share their newfound riches, their newfound billions? Are they going to share that with the people, or are they going to escape to London and purchase football clubs? I don't know. The president of Finland, he did an interview with what's his face on CNN, Farid Zakaria. He did an interview with that guy, And he said that the only way to get to peace in Ukraine is to continue to fight Russia. The only way for peace is to continue the conflict. That is what Alexander Stubb, the president of Finland, said. Let's see here. CNN host Fareed Zakaria asked Stubb whether it was worth talking to the Russians, given that the hostilities appear to have reached a stalemate. Really, Fareed Zakaria? Do you really believe that the hostilities have reached a stalemate? Really? I don't know. I don't know, Fareed Zakaria. I would say that we are definitely not at a stalemate. Anyway, this is what the president of Finland said. When you mediate peace, it begins with dialogue, and after dialogue, you start setting parameters. But I think the cold truth in this particular case is that the only way we can achieve peace is through the battlefield. Stubb responded. So be it. If the only way for the EU political class, if the only way for them to achieve peace is through the battlefield, then so be it. Malon lave. So Lavrov, he talked about the friendship games, which may actually be called the BRICS games. I like the friendship games, but some people are calling them the BRICS games. They will be based on the ideals, according to Lavrov, they will be based on the ideals enshrined in the Olympic Charter, which the current IOC leadership despises. I'm all for the friendship games or the BRICS games or whatever they're going to be called. I like the friendship games. I'm all for it. The Olympics they're too political, they're too corrupt, they're too expensive. They really add nothing of value to a city. I remember the Athens games. I was actually in Athens when Athens held the Olympics in 2004. And they really didn't do much to lift the city. They really did not do much to lift the fortunes of Athens. A lot of the facilities are abandoned. And I would say the only two things that the Olympic Games left as far as infrastructure for Athens is that they sped up the development of the metro. The metro was being developed, but they actually sped up the development of the metro, which was a good thing. And probably the tram network. That's it. All the other facilities and the stadiums, they're just not really being used or not being used much. So it came at a tremendous cost. And 4 or 5 years later, we went completely bankrupt. And then we entered austerity with the IMF and the EU, and we know the story there. Anyway, friendship games. I'm all aboard the friendship games. Let's do it. Let's support the friendship games. So let's do a clown world, and we will wrap this video up. And this is a real clown world. Like, this is a real freaking clown world. Ukraine spares clowns from military draft, according to RIA. The government in Kiev has designated several Circus troops as enterprises of critical importance, whose employees will be exempt from mobilization. Two lawmakers confirmed on Monday. The traveling circus of Ukraine and 5 other troops have been designated as critically important enterprises for the functioning of the economy and ensuring the livelihoods of the population during a special period. Rada member Zelenskyy wrote on his Telegram channel. Yeah, the circus will not be drafted, will not be mobilized. I think I can start walking. That's a real clown world right there, huh? We're talking about the circus and clowns and acrobats like Annalena Baerbock, who's a trampoline artist, a trampoline professional or something like that. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. ZNPP.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. And I know something is going on with Twitter X and Brazil. I'm trying to catch up on this story, but something big is going on there with free speech in Brazil and Twitter X and Elon Musk. Maybe I'll report on it tomorrow or the day after once I get up to speed with what's going on there. All right, that's the video. Duran shop. Look for limited edition merchandise. The link is in the description box down below. Thank God for my Duran hoodie. And give a like to this video. Subscribe to this channel. Help me get to 200,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year. Or you know what? I'm very close to 30,000 subscribers on Rumble. So help me get to 30,000 subscribers on Rumble. All right, everybody, take care.